for this submission of quarterly and annual data. So today, we'll be just giving a demonstration of how this online tool works, the process of onboarding and registration. So the SIS4 team will be also explaining this, and if anyone has any question, they can mention in the chat box or stop us also during the call. So first of all, I would like Gigi sir to give the welcome address and the opening remarks. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Sunny. Thank you, Nandi, and thank you, SIS4, for being our partner. Good afternoon to all of you, and welcome to this small training session on the data management submission. As Sunny mentioned, that we have developed a small tool for collecting the data. As you know that Sa-Dhan being an SRO, data submission, data collection and submission to RBI is one of our major mandate. RBI has mandated us that we should do the collection of data on a regular basis, normally on a quarterly basis, and also on an annual basis, and submit that data to the to RBI. So while collecting the data has to be more accurate, it has to be consistent. So there has to be a better mechanism of collecting this data. So far, we had been adopting a Excel sheet for the purpose of collecting the data, mainly because we did not have any other thing in our hand. Since things are now it's a world of digitization. We thought we should also digitize the data collection, but then we did not go for a very highly sophisticated one, because mainly because our members, as you know, they are of different capabilities. In fact, today in this call, we have people with more than 100 crores AUM, but other 2 days we had our partner institution who were having the AUM less than 100. They were all very small institutions. At least in your case, I'm sure you people must be having better technology capability. But since we have to take everyone together, we did not go for a highly sophisticated one. We used the Microsoft Power BI for developing a product, which is more or less like the Excel sheet submission only. But then little more accuracy, little more consistency can be achieved, and going forward, we can further improve upon this. This is our intention. So mainly, the data is used for the purpose of submission to RBI on a regular basis as mandated by us. And we also use this data for the purpose of preparing some reports. As you know, that reports like quarterly monitoring reports, quarterly microfinance report, as well as the Bharat microfinance report, they are all developed from the data which we collect from through this source. For your information, Bharat Microfinance Report is the only such report available for the microfinance sector, and that is being used widely by various stakeholders. RBI use it very widely. Even Government of India make use of the data which we submit in the BMR. In fact, if you see the previous year's economic survey, they had quoted quite exhaustively from the BMR. So what I'm trying to say is that the data which we are compiling and preparing into reports like BMR or QMR, they are also being seen by the various stakeholders. So that there is a need to have proper data collection, proper data management. That's the reason we thought of having this digitized format. And for your information, we got a partner from Bangalore, one technology company called SIS4, who has been able to help us in developing this this product. And they are with us now. They will be telling us how we need to go forward with this new tool. Basically, there are two processes there. One is registration process. That there is a one-time process where you have to give some basic data which gets registered, and based on that, you will be given a link for submission of your quarterly data as well as the annual data. And that will be every quarter when the data process starts. We will be sending the quarterly link as well as the annual link when it is due. So that is the process. So we will be getting more information from our team, from the partner institution like SIS4. So I welcome SIS4 team for this training session, and welcome each one of you to this session. And I request you to kindly carefully listen to what is being told, and wherever there is some kind of a confusion or doubt is there, please raise that. If there is any further improvement you can suggest, that you can tell us. So we are opening up for your views also. So with this, I hand over back to Sunny and team, as well as Sys4 team.
Yeah. Thank you, Gigi sir. This is Ayush from Sys4. First of all, I'd like to introduce my team, Ranjit and Sneha, who will be taking you through the entire QDCS and ADCS process. When I say QDCS and ADCS, I mean quarterly data collection sheet and annual data collection sheet. Now, we would like to thank Sa-Dhan team for choosing us to help them build a digitized software, a digitized version of collecting all of this information. Now, our team is going to be showcasing a small deck where we will just give you an introduction on what the whole demo is about today. And then we will move on to the demo, which Ranjit will be showing you. So, once again, thank you. I would like Sneha to take over the session and just give them an introduction on the registration, QDCS, and ADCS. Thank you.
Thank you, Ayush. Hi team, good afternoon. Today I will walk you through the. Today I will
No,
walk
you are
you
not audible.
CMS application. Before I start, I would like to request you all to please feel free to just stop me, or if you have any questions or concerns, we can proceed now. Today I will walk you through the Sa-Dhan application, and I will be presenting the following agenda. So we have the registration process, MFI login, QDCS process, ADCS process. So here QDCS process is a quarterly data collection sheet, and ADCS is annual data collection sheet. So this is the agenda that we are going to look in for today. So now let's begin. So here we have the Sa-Dhan team who initiates the MFI onboarding. So once the Sa-Dhan team initiates the onboarding process, MFI maker will receive an email notification. So with that, they will also be receiving a portal URL. A portal URL. So with that portal URL, like whichever the MFIs will receive, they have to, once they click on that portal URL, they will be navigating to the registration form. So once, like when you navigate to the registration form, you can see all the required details that you have to fill in. So MFIs will have to fill in the required details in the registration process and submit it to the checker. So as we know, in the MFI part, we have the maker and checker who is responsible for the entire process of the application. So once it is submitted to the checker, we have the checker who is going to review all the details which is filled in by the maker. So once the checker reviews all the data submitted by the maker, and then the checker shall submit it to the Sa-Dhan team. So once it is submitted to the Sa-Dhan team, the Sa-Dhan team will approve with all the details that is finally shared by or submitted by the checker. So following that approval process by Sa-Dhan team, the MFI will receive an email containing the login credentials and the portal URL to access the application. So you will receive an email which will have the credentials and also the link to access the application. So when you click on that link, so the MFI will directly be redirected to the application. They'll be navigated to the application, so which will be the login screen. So where you can enter your credentials, that is the user ID and password. So once you successfully log into that with these with those credentials, you will be able to access the application. So here, like as this is a digitized process, as Ayush told, so here we have like it is a one-time process that you will have to just enter the details and which you can access, and you will have the credentials with you which you can log in at any time. And also, like to make it easier, like in the registration process, you will be having like you will have to fill in both MFI checker and like the maker details. So you'll have like name, phone number, and email ID. So which once this is approved by Sa-Dhan team, so Sa-Dhan, like once it is approved, the credentials for both maker and checker will be received through email. So both maker and checker will have their credentials which they can log in, and which they can enter their data, and also the checker can review. So this is about the registration process and just the overview. So can we know that if anybody has any details in this slide? If anybody has any queries or concerns, you can just put it out. We can clarify that and move on to the next slide. I hope there's no doubt. So moving on to the next slide. So here in the first slide, so we have the first screenshot. So it is a sample email that you can see. So post, as I told, post the registration form submission and approval. These MFIs will be getting a link. So the portal URL link. So once you click on that, so like you will get the registration form. So this basically the first screenshot that you can see is here to access the registration form. So when you can see that click here, like which is highlighted. So this is how you will be getting an email. When you click, you will be directly navigated to the registration form, which you can see in the second screenshot. So here, this is what I told. Like you have your like just you can see in the screenshot like CO details, CFO, and also you'll have maker details, checker details. So when you enter all these details, so any notification related to checker and maker, they will be receiving the credentials or access to the application. So this is about the registration form and how you will be able to navigate to the registration form using the portal URL link. So moving to the next slide. So the next slide, here we have the screenshot. The first screenshot is the registration process. Like MFIs will receive an email, so containing the username and password. So this using this username and password, you'll be able to log into the application. So post the approval process of your registration form. This is the email that MFI team will receive, both the checker and maker. So once you click onto the link that you can see, like click here to visit the Sa-Dhan portal. So once you click there, you will directly be navigated to the login screen. That is the Sa-Dhan application, the main portal that you will be able to move forward. So here you can enter the password and the username. So the second screenshot is your login screen that you can enter the username and password so that you can successfully post this successful login of this screen, like the page. You will be directed to this home page. So this is the landing page. Like you can say that this is the first page that you will be landing onto upon successfully logging into the application. So you can see that towards your left hand side, you have multiple menus such as home page, like home option, guidance note, QDCS form, ADCS form, logout option. So here the guidance note is nothing but like the basic details, how the calculation should happen, or you have any related queries in filling up the forms like fields, you can just go through these guidance note. And QDCS form is like you'll have that quarterly data collection form. So and next is the annual data collection form, and logout you have an option. So once you log out, you can anytime log in using this credential. So this is about the registration process, how your landing page would look like, and how the credentials shall be used, and what are the email notifications that you would come across during the application usage. So hope this process is clear. So if
I'd like to add in this. So a question might arise that an
the application
institution can have multiple makers. So in such a case, this credential is going to be a common credential where in your institution you can share this credentials with other makers from your institution, and they'll be able to log in using the same
can I
credentials
just get a
and the link
confirmation
provided.
if we can proceed with the demonstration?
Yeah, although we may allow multiple makers, but the checker has to be the single person because there has to be someone who will be responsible for the data.
Sir, I'm just so sorry. Can you just repeat it again, sir?
No, I'm saying that
Yeah.
the maker can be multiple
Yes, yes,
if
yes,
it
sir.
is needed, but the checker has to be a single person so that there will be one point from where the data will be coming to Southern.
Yes, sir. Yes, correct. Yes.
Excuse me, one question here. Can we also have backup checkers or more than one checker in case one of the checkers is not available, the data can be checked?
Fine, I agree with you, Prashant. What you can do is that in the registration process, now how many names can be put, Melvin? Sorry, Ayush?
We can put one name for a maker and a checker.
Can we have one standby also added there?
Yes. I mean, that could be incorporated. Currently, it only takes one maker and one checker per MFI.
I think
So-
one more will be useful because
Because to delegate,
Yeah,
understood.
yeah,
That makes sense. Yeah, we can try to incorporate that.
right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. Any other questions? If not, then we can just quickly move on to the demo, where my colleague Ranjit will be sharing his screen and showing you a demonstration of this entire process. I hope we're good to go. Yeah, Ranjit, I think you can take over and we can start the session.
So hello everyone. Starting up with the registration process, like once you submit an email to the Sa-Dhan team, they'll enter it with your business name, as an MFI. So based after submission of that, you will be receiving these particular mails stating that the registration link has been shared.
Ranjit sir, can you just speak a little more loudly? Like your voice is less audible, so just more loudly. I hope everyone can hear him clearly.
Is it audible now, sir?
Yeah, better, slightly better. Yes.
Okay, so based on the submission of your email ID, this is the mail that you will be receiving, stating that the registration link has been shared by the Sa-Dhan team to register to the portal to update the data sheets. Please find the link attached below, and you'll be provided with a link where you have to click on it, and a registration page will be displayed for you to fill in the data. So as you see, this is a registration page that you will be receiving, so which consists of general details such as name of MFI, legal forms. You have a drop down to select which legal form that you particularly follow, and headquarters city, and you have CEO details. Let me enter some sample data for now. And CFO name, contact details, complaints officer name. We have implemented basic validation for phone numbers and for email ID.
Hello, Ranjeet. I have one question.
Yes, sir.
What if we don't have a CFO in our company?
You can just give nil, or like give a invalid data for it if you don't have
In,
NA, something
but
like NA.
that's a mandatory field, no?
Yes, sir, but you can mention NA for now.
Okay.
We had this question previously also, so we are deciding on it.
So is it CEO mandatory? If there is no CEO, then what would be?
CEO or MD, it's the same. Executive head. Then CFOs, basically it's the person who heading the accounts team.
I think instead of CFO, it can be CFO slash head of finance or head of accounts.
Yeah. So maybe that we can look at. CFO slash you can say account head. Head of accounts.
In case there is no CFO in your case, some alternative arrangement should be there. So that actually that is why even if CEO designation is there, accounts head should be acting as a CFO.
No, Nandi, what we can do is that CEO stroke MD लिख सकता है. Then
That
we
we
will
of course do also, but in case wherever I found those who have no CFO designated, so in their cases, their accounts head is acting as a CFO.
Exactly. That is exactly required. Maybe with some clarity can be given. Okay, go ahead.
Can we proceed, sir?
Yeah, please go ahead.
So in the registration form at the last, you will find checker details where you will be entering the name of the checker, checker designation, checker email, and checker contact number. This particular role acts as a second verification. Like once there is two roles basically, one is maker and checker. The maker details that you have submitted during your registration process, which you just have to give your email ID to Sa-Dhan team, and you will be, that particular email will be designated as maker, and in this form you will be entering details for checkers, and which is a second person who will be validating all the data entered by the maker. So that there can be situations where some MFI who might not have both maker and checker, they can enter the same details what they have given for maker, so they will receive the same credentials, so they can validate and submit it to Sa-Dhan. So I'll enter the same email that I have given as a maker for now. So once after clicking submit to checker, this particular message will be displayed on your registration field saying that the data has been submitted for the checker's approval, and all the fields will get logged so that you don't make any changes hereafter, and you will be the checker details what you have entered here for this particular email. You'll be receiving a mail stating that a registration form has been sent for verification. Please find the link attached to access the form. Following is the link to the registration form submitted to you by the specific person's name for your review. So you can click on this particular link. So once the link is clicked, there is a validation where required, where you have to enter the checker email ID in order. It is just a validation to know that only the checker can be able to access it. So I'll enter the same email ID what I've given over there. On submit, you will receive a success message saying the checker email ID has been validated. On clicking OK of it, all the data which was entered by the maker will be displayed over here, and the checker will still have a provision to edit it and then submit to the Sa-Dhan team. After that, the data has been submitted for the Sa-Dhan team's approval. Continuing with this process, like after the submission, the Sa-Dhan team will have an option to reject it and approve it. Once after approval, the both maker and checker will be receiving two separate mails with their credentials, username and password. So this is the end of registration process, and I hope is there any questions?
One question: if there are any changes to this one-time registration, is there a process to it? We'll like to know that.
Okay, so if there is any changes, you can directly contact the Sa-Dhan team for it. They have the provision to edit it. You can just give the details to them so they can make changes.
Okay, thank you.
See, one question is, see, instead of collecting a separate email ID for maker and checker, if you provide one common admin for a company, they can have an own maker and checker, na?
Ma'am, the idea is, see, the idea is to have someone responsible for the information being sent, you know. So if it is
Correct, sir. See, my question is, see, I'm representing from Repco Microfinance.
Yeah, I got it.
If you provide one common ID for Repco Microfinance, so I will be the checker. Okay, I will act as admin as well as I will act as a checker. So that whenever there is a change in employee, that is maker or any subsequent checker, I can enroll. No, that person will be the maker. So final responsibility will come to admin. So you are going to provide only one admin for a company. So examine the possibilities. I think it seems to be helpful.
Yeah, the point we got it. The point is that maker can be multiple. That can be generic one, as you said. But the checker, I feel that there should be someone responsible. Someone. I mean, there can be two. We can give you one by. I mean, standby also. So there can be two persons. The details can be registered, and it can be changed anytime with the help of the Sa-Dhan team.
Okay, done.
So just to quickly recap, like Ranjit sir had been sharing like the registration process. So Sa-Dhan team, like we'll be initiating the registration link the registration link would be accessed by the like maker of the particular institution. And once they fill this registration form, he will be asked to submit the email ID of the checker. So once the email ID is entered, the checker of that particular institution will also be viewing this registration form just to approve, like if all the details are filled in correctly. And once he approves, it will be sent to Sa-Dhan for approval. And once we approve from our side, then that particular MFI or MLI will receive the login credentials. And once they get that username and password, they can log into the DCMS application and start filling the quarterly or annual data.
Even checker can also some modification required can do that from his end also.
Sir, yes, sir, you can please continue.
Email once the Sa-Dhan team approves that particular data what you have submitted during the registration process. It's which consists of your credentials such as username and password, and the link to the main portal will also be provided over here. So this will be the landing page that will be displayed when you click on that link below. And I have saved some of the details for maker and checker so that in order to reduce the time. You have an option to click on login over there and then enter your credentials. On successfully logging in, you will have an option to view the sidebar, which consists of guidance note, QDCS form, ADCS form, and an option to log out. And guidance note is where the description of whichever input field that is present either in QDCS form or ADCS form, where you can understand what the thing is and why should you submit the data. And if there is any calculation involved to it, you can directly search for it in the search bar is provided for it. You can search for that particular data and have a proper description about it. And there is another way of helping you with the guidance note. There is another option when you fill a form, which will be displaying you shortly, where you'll have an option to toggle on a button. Like you still see the description when you are entering the data. So you have another option there, which will be showing you in shortly. So this is how the login process works. And moving on, we'll show you how the QDCS process works. I request my colleague Sneha to share a screen.
So moving on to the next process is QDCS process for MFI. So this is the quarterly data collection sheet. So here we have finance and operation section. So it comprises of 1 to 6 section. Next is state-wise, district-wise, quarterly CGRM, HH income and indebtedness, insurance, shareholdings and ownership. So when you navigate to QDCS process, you will come across all these sections and you will be able to fill in data for all these. So moving on to the next one. So this is the list overview. As the name suggests, this is a list of QDCS. So here, whenever you have completed one of the QDCS, so it will have a unique ID or a unique number which you can differentiate with the other one. So you'll have a list which is being presented here, and also you have options such as sort by, filter, search option. So using sort by, you can sort the complete list by new to old, old to new. So which will be based upon the start date. And you have the filter option. So here you have filter like submitted to checker, so initiated, submitted to Sa-Dhan, or expired. So all these options you can just filter on that if you require some particular status. And the search option. So as I told, you have a unique number, like let's say QDCS 1004 is the number that you have. So in case you want to search that number, you can just give that number and search. And towards your left hand side, you have menus such as again the home, guidance note, QDCS form, ADCS form, and the logout option. And here you can see that like the list of QDCS and the status mentioned. So moving forward in ADCS section, like we would show you how you have multiple QDCS here with the color differentiation based on the status. So this is about the list overview of the QDCS. So moving to the next slide, we have the QDCS form overview. So as I told, the first section, that is finance and operation, you have 1 to 6 sections. So you can just see the header which comprises of those 6 sections, and you have the list of things that you have to fill in, like state-wise, district-wise, and all that I mentioned in the previous slide. So upon save and save and next, you'll be able to navigate to the different sections. So this is about the QDCS, just the overview and a brief description. So now Ranjit will take over to explain you how the QDCS process works.
So yeah, continuing with the demo. So this is the list view for the QDCS where you have an option to sort, and this sort is performed based on the start date that is mentioned by the Sa-Dhan team, and you have a filter option which consists of initiated, submitted to MFI checker, submitted to Sa-Dhan, approved and closed, sent back and expired, where you can filter the data based on whichever status you want to see them. And you have an option to search where you can search based on the QDCS ID. So moving further, so I've initiated a QDCS already. So as you can see, this is the current one. So let me click on it, and you will be navigated to a QDCS section where you have 6 subsections in the finance and operation. So starting with the first one, that is particulars of MLI, where name of the MLI is auto-populated, state and UT headquarters, legal forms. And as you can see, these are all the data which were filled by the MFI during the registration process. So the MFI doesn't require to re-enter the data again and again. So all this will be populated. And there is this delivery model, and in the brackets it is mentioned that if there is more than one delivery model, please give breakup in percentage as well. So for example, let me give JLCS 10%, and if you have another module, you can another model,
SHG model or
individual,
GLG,
yeah.
SHG individual model. These are the common model
you
in
can
generally.
mention such a way. And moving further, next section is most recent rating information, where you just have to enter the rating agency name and scale of grading, date of rating, and validity date. And next will be most recent grading information. And next is most recent CA information.
Ranjit sir, I would just like to add, in the beginning we were
And
using
here
the
the CEO details, CFO details, complaints officer details, and all this will be auto-populated based on your registration form what you have filled. And next is COO and CBO operation head offices details. So yeah, and at the last, maker details and checker details will be displayed, and which is auto-populated from the registration process as well. Once after the MFI fills all this detail, he can click on these buttons which has save and go next in order to proceed with the next screen. So is there any questions in the first section?
Ranjit sir, I would like to add just one thing. Like, first of all, like we are using the term MLI, we'll be mentioning that also. Like MLI stands for micro lending institution. like to encompass all entities who are involved in microfinance operation. And I think some MFIs may having be doubt like we have to fill all the information at one go. So that is not the case. Like you can fill some of like operational data today, yeah, and save, and like maybe few days later when the finance data is available, they can fill that finance data as well later. So that information which was filled earlier, it will always be there. Sir, you can continue.
Yes, sir. So moving on to the next section, there is this profile of MLI, and as on date, which is mentioned by the Sa-Dhan team. Here it has number of staffs at the beginning of the quarter. So this is a sample data what I'm going to enter. Next is number of new staffs recruited during the quarter. I'll get 50, and number of staffs left or dropped during the quarter, 25. And here in the below field that says number of staffs at the end of the quarter, here the value is calculated based on the sum of number of staffs at the beginning of the quarter plus new staffs recruited minus the number of staffs dropped. So there are multiple calculations like this involved in most of the sections over here. And moving further is out of number of staff, enter the number of loan officers. And if I try to enter value which is more than 125, you will be receiving a pop-up saying that number of loan officers cannot be greater than number of staffs. So let me enter 50 for now. And number of branches and collection percent through cashless or digital mode. When I try to enter value which is more than 100, here there is a validation saying that value cannot exceed 100. Please enter a valid percentage. So since it is a percentage field, I hope the value should be within 100. So number of states operating, number of operating districts. And moving to the next section, which is loan accounts and borrower details. Here, the number of loan accounts for microfinance under on balance sheet. I'll enter 100 for now. And number of loan accounts for only non-microfinance loan under on balance sheet, 100 here. And in the next field, the total number of loan accounts under on balance sheet, that will be the sum of these two fields. That is one for non-microfinance and one is for microfinance, which is both on balance sheet. Same way the calculation is applied for the below field as well. So I'll enter 100 for now and 100. Yeah, and this is for the off balance sheet. Microfinance loans under off balance sheet and non-microfinance loan under off balance sheet portfolio. Some of these two will be displayed in total number of loan accounts under off balance sheet portfolio. And the next field is a sum of these two total, that is total number of loan accounts under on balance sheet portfolio and total number of loan accounts under off balance sheet portfolio, which is 200 and 200. Some of that will be displayed in the below field, that is total number of loan accounts under gross loan portfolio / AUM. And moving further, there is the same calculation is implemented for the below input field as well. So 50 and 50, which is for borrowers, number of active borrowers for microfinance loan and non-microfinance loan, 50, 50, and total of that is displayed in this particular field. And next is active borrowers for microfinance under off balance sheet. Some of that will be displayed over here, and some of these two fields, that is grayed out fields. Grayed out fields is basically just a log field where the calculation will be displayed. And and if you feel any confusion on how this is calculated, you have an eye option over here where you can hover it, and the description what you have seen in the guidance note will be displayed over here. I believe this will be helpful for you to furtherly like fill the application details as well. So moving forward, there is number of active borrowers for BC and number of rural borrowers, number of new borrowers. So here the number of active borrowers for BC, when you try to enter value which is more than the mentioned above, that is, this particular pop-up will be displayed. The number of active borrowers for BC under off-balance sheet portfolio cannot exceed total number of active borrowers under off-balance sheet portfolio. So total number of active borrowers under off-balance sheet portfolio is 200, and if I try to enter some value which is greater than that, that particular pop-up will be displayed. And next is loan portfolio outstanding. Here, on balance sheet microfinance loan portfolio and on balance sheet non-microfinance loan portfolio, and some of these two will be displayed in on balance sheet portfolio outstanding in INR. So every input field we request you to fill in an absolute value instead of entering it in crores or lakhs. We request you to enter the complete value for it. And moving further, next is off balance sheet microfinance loan portfolio for microfinance, and this is for non-microfinance, and some of these two will be displayed here in off-balance sheet portfolio outstanding, and some of these two gray fields will be displayed below for gross loan portfolio. And moving further, next is BC portfolio, next is securitized and assigned portfolio, and next is share of portfolio of banks, financial institutions, co-lending arrangement models. And here there is another validation where the sum of BC portfolio, securitized and assigned portfolio, and co-lending portfolio must be equal to off-balance sheet portfolio outstanding. So off-balance sheet portfolio outstanding, the value is 200. So 150. So now you should be able to like bypass the pop-up that if that you have displayed if you have entered the value which is below. And next is a rural portfolio, and there is another validation where a rural portfolio cannot exceed the gross loan portfolio, and gross loan have given 400, so I've entered the value 200, and if I try to enter value above 500, this particular pop-up will be displayed, and this will be the end of the second section. Is there any questions?
Yeah, hi, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
In above one place you have update cashless and digital payment 67%, correct? For example, in above, can we go in top in same page?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
67%. How we can identify what is my cashless and what is my digital? For example, my digital was 85%, my cashless was 15%. So how I can update? I'm audible.
Can you? Yeah. I hope Sunny sir could answer for this.
Hello. Hello. Can you hear me? Yes, we are.
So you know your total portfolio, out of which how much your
Percentage is being collected through cashless digital mode.
This
So
is
this
overall
data point we are already receiving from MFIs. So
explain
So you must be collecting your repayments through digital mode, na, like UPI or your own app. Like several MFIs have their own app, or they're collecting through Phone Pay or Google Pay, like that. So we are just basically asking, like out of your total collection, how much percentage is being collected through the cashless mode.
Okay.
So I believe this was being asked previously also via Excel sheet.
Okay, I got your point.
Okay, fine. Ranjit sir, there was another question like I think it was previously asked also in another session, like can they download in Excel form the same data which they're submitting to Sa-Dhan? Can they download in Excel form for their future use?
No.
Yes, so for now we don't have that provision, but the form that you have filled, which will be displayed for you in the list view, what I've showed before, and values will be there. So the MFIs can refer to the forms which they have filled earlier and which is approved and closed also. Can I proceed, sir?
See, one query. See, here you are filling the finance and operation tab, correct?
Yes.
If I don't have the data, can I simply move on to state-wise data without keying this page?
Yes, you can like directly go to the next section without filling the data, because most of the fields over here are not mandatory, and you can directly move on to the next sections. No issues with that.
Done.
Ranjit, sir.
Yes, sir.
One question is related to the staff count. So whether those who are contractual employees, trainees, or probationers, so whether we'll include them also in this count or not?
Means in this regard, we are going to give a guidance note although, but before that, I'm telling you, those who are actually involved in microfinance, this would be part considered as a staff, even if they are contractual and not contractual.
So trainees are also considered as staff as per
No,
this.
trainee don't consider, but question is those who are contractual, but they are regularly working for last certain period, they should be considered for the staff. For example, one staff is on contract basis for working for last 1 year, he should be considered as a staff, right?
Okay. And we are asking
probationers
like
also.
number of staff, like you can just clearly hear, see all the on the screen, like we're asking number of staff at beginning of quarter, number of staff recruited during the quarter. So maybe some contractual employees maybe have been recruited during that particular quarter. And then during the next quarter, like when you're again filling, yeah, it would be dropped. So you can consider the contractual employees also. That's why we're asking the number of staff recruited during the quarter, number of staff
Correct.
quarter.
Okay, got it, sir.
Yeah, sir, you can proceed.
So yeah, like once after the data are filled by the MFI, they can click on the save and go next button and navigate to the next section. And the MFIs have still the option to navigate to another section by clicking on the progress bar above also, where you will have an option to save or try to don't save if you want to like go back and validate whatever the data that you have entered. So next, third section is a credit risk par analysis table. Here, as you have filled the Excel before, so most of the fields are same over here. That is par greater than 1 day, greater than 30, greater than 60, and greater than 90. Here, you have an option to enter the principal outstanding overdue amount. For the first table, it is calculated based on the gross loan, that is principal amount divided by the gross loan into 100. The percentage of that will be displayed in the par in percentage column. So one. So here there is another validation where all these values should be entered in a descending format. So for example, I have given 123, 122 and 121, and if I try to change this value, there will be a pop-up saying that par greater than 30 days should be greater than 60, greater than 90, greater than 180, and less than 1 day. In addition to that, we have mentioned it in the description also in the guidance note where you can refer. So I'll enter 122 for now. So next par table here, the value, that is the principal amount divided by the on balance sheet portfolio, and percentage of that will be displayed over here. The same validation is implemented here as well, where you have to enter the values in descending format. And the last final table where the principal outstanding overdue amount divided by the off balance sheet into 100 and percentage of that will be displayed over here. Is there any questions, sir, in this section?
Sir, I believe like this already the MFIs are submitting to us on quarterly basis. So par, I don't think there is any issue. Yeah.
So
Yeah, there is no doubt. You can, sir, proceed.
Once after, yes, sir.
Sir, you can proceed.
Okay. So clicking on save and go next once after the data is filled. So fourth section, you have loan disbursement. The first field is the number of loan disbursed for on-balance sheet microfinance loan. I'll enter 100 for now, and for on-balance sheet non-microfinance loan and 100, and some of those two will be displayed here as the same functionality what we had in the section. And some of these two fields will be displayed in the below one, that is total number of loans disbursed during the quarter. And moving further, we have number of loans disbursed in rural areas and number of loans disbursed in semi-urban areas, and number of loans disbursed in urban and metropolitan areas. And here we have a validation where sum of loan disbursed must be equal to total number of loan disbursed. That is, this total number of loan disbursed during the quarter is 400, and if I try to enter value which is greater than that, you will receive that particular pop-up. So I'll enter 200, 100, and 100. Yeah. So then next is number of loans disbursed through cashless mode. Next is amount disbursed for on-balance sheet microfinance loan. The same calculation is implemented here as well. Some of these two will be displayed here, and some of these two grayed out fields will be displayed in the total amount disbursed during the quarter section. And next is amount disbursed in rural areas. Next is amount disbursed through cashless mode. Next section is NPA provision and write-off. Here you have to enter the provision amount. Next is the write-off amount. And here the write-off percentage is calculated based on the value that is entered in the write-off amount divided by gross loan plus write-off amount into 100. The calculation is performed, and this percentage will be displayed in this particular grayed out field. Same way for the net NPA. The net NPA amount divided by the on-balance sheet amount plus the gross loan into 100, and calculation of that will be displayed here. As you guys have had on the Excel sheet where you have the same calculations implemented here as well, but the thing is the fields are grayed out and calculations are directly displayed over here. Moving further, next is the balance sheet items. Next is total assets. Risk weighted assets, net assets, average assets. So tier 1 capital plus tier 2 capital will be displayed in the total equity sections. And next is average equity. Next is total funding liabilities. net owned funds, outstanding borrowings excluding securitized assigned portfolio. Next is qualifying assets as a percentage of total assets. So next is the profitability and financial ratio section. You have return of equity percentage, return of assets percentage, capital to risk weighted asset ratio in percentage, and next is debt to equity ratio. So that will be the end of fourth section. Is there any questions?
If anyone has any questions, they can mention in the chat box also.
No question.
Okay, so once after the MFI fills all the details, they can click on this and then navigate to the next section where the data will be saved. And next is the fifth, where you have two sections here, that is funding composition for equity and borrowing. There is two sections. So here you have an option where the equities are displayed over here, that is promoters, foreign direct investments, Indian investors and others, and received during the quarter. And there is this equity section where you have to enter the amount. Here the percent share against total assets, this is calculated by the amount that you have entered over here divided by the total assets which was entered in the previous section. And then next is the borrowing detail section. Here the same calculation as well, the amount divided by the total assets that is present in the previous section. So these are all the options that they have given, and at the end you have an option where any others you can directly enter the values for it. And that is the end of the fifth section. Is there any questions? Shall I proceed, sir?
So you can proceed, like this data is already being provided by MFIs in that Excel sheet also now. So it's not new to them. Only that I think interface and that onboarding process, that is the new part.
Good. So yeah, next is the sixth section, which is income and profit. And total, first is the total income, which is grayed out field. The calculations, the sum of these five fields will be displayed in the total incomes. And next is operating profit. Next is income and profit for cumulative as on dates. Here the calculation is implemented the same way as what you had in the above section. Moving forward, this is the other section where a weighted average cost of borrowing, weighted average for operating cost in percentage, and maximum interest rate, minimum interest rate, weighted average interest rate, and a weighted average interest rate charged to clients for loans and this is for clients for microfinance loans and effective annualized interest rate. So these are all the same fields what you have entered in the Excel sheet before. So let me fill with the normal sample data for you. And next section is collection status during this particular quarter that is mentioned by the Sa-Dhan team. Here you have to mention the collection efficiency in percentage. Next is individual loans. And next is a co-lending model / arrangement. This is a table where you have an option to add multiple rows to it and have an option at the end to delete if it is not required, where you have to so yeah, you have an option to add multiple rows to it and enter the values. So next is a business correspondent table, which you have the same option to add multiple rows to it and then fill the data. And this will be the end of 6th section, that is finance and operations. Once the MFI fills all this detail, they can click on save and go next, which will navigate them to the state-wise data, which is the next section that is present in your side head. So in state-wise data, the MFI will have the same options where they can click on add a row, enter the values, and the same option at the end to delete it. And there is the main validation that is implemented where if any of the values that you enter and the totals will be calculated below, and if you try to submit it, this particular pop-up will be displayed saying that the number of districts operating branches, active borrowers, gross loan, on balance sheet portfolio, total amount disbursed for gross loan, and all these fields that is mentioned, this loan officers, the value that you enter here and the value that is present in the section 2 and section 4 should match. Only then you will be able to save the data and move forward to the next section. So I have noted some of the values that I've entered for the fields in the previous section. So let me fill it.
So here, Ranjit sir is just filling for one field, like if some MFI is having operation in 15 or 20 states, like I think Ranjit sir and Ayush sir mentioned there is that adding row option also. So they can particularly mention the breakup of that branches, borrowers, portfolio disbursement in those particular 15 or 20 states.
And here there is another validation where the maximum interest rate charged should be greater than the minimum interest rate charged.
Is there any bulk upload option for all these states and districts? Because manually filling these states and followed by districts will be, too much time consuming. So I think the format should remain same, and there should be a functionality of uploading an Excel file which will auto populate for all the districts and states automatically.
To answer that question, currently we do not have the upload feature, but we are in talks with Sa-Dhan team and we will try to bring that in to this. I understand your point because it becomes a big process where you have to, let's say you have operations in all 28, like 20 states, 360 plus districts. It will be very time consuming to manually enter all that data. So we are in talks with the Sa-Dhan team and we will give you an update on that.
Absolutely, because the chances of error also increases the more we enter, the data manually.
Understood.
Hello. As Mr. Ice told, actually we are in touch with them to make it with some provision so that we can
Bulk uploading.
bulk upload data from your system. If not possible, then we should have alternative that we have already thought that will let you know also. No need to do a manual entry actually in this case. Okay.
Sure. Great.
So,
That will be great. Yeah.
Sir,
Upasana of Cashpur also had, I think, that same doubt.
Same
So,
question actually. So answer is same for us actually. Okay.
sir, at least do we have copy paste option so that it will be easy for us to
That is why
update?
we already discussed this issue with our technology team.
Okay.
Of course, we are going to do, I believe, actually. If not, then we should do some alternative, actually. Okay.
Okay, sir. Okay.
And sir, one more thing, if you can just inculcate one more feature, there's if we can download a section-wise Excel file, that would be really helpful.
Please answer this question.
What do you mean by downloading a section-wise Excel file, sir? So you want to export it to Excel, you're saying?
Yes. So we can share it within our departments now.
Acha. Sir, so currently what you can do is, so in case of a previous quarter data you want to see a section wise, you will have the provision to view all of those previously submitted data collection sheets also in the application.
In Excel?
No. In the same format that you have seen in the previous, in the sections, FNO section.
So Amit sir, like I think Ayush sir and Nandis already mentioned, like you'll be provided with a common username and that password. So like if anyone also wants to access that data, they can log in to that portal using that username and ID.
Okay, so Excel feature won't be available.
Right now not available, but again we are talking with the technology team. If possible, of course, this will be good for you, for us, all of us actually. Okay, keep in mind this also, how best you can do it.
Yeah. Sure. We have made a note of it anyways. We'll discuss this. Not a problem.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, so next is district-wise data, where you have the same option to add rows and enter the state name and district name, and the values that you have entered in the previous section should match the total of value that is entered here. So, Yeah, so next is quarterly CGRM. Here in the first table, you will have a set of 6 questions, and where the MFI will have an option to either select yes or no to it. And at the last, there is a question where you have an option to enter the value as well. So once you click on, once you select yes, you have an option to enter the number here, and if not, you can directly close it. And here, there is this table sections which used to be in the Excel what you guys have preferred earlier. That is this interest rate, excessive charges, recovery practices, staff behavior, staff fraud, disbursement details, credit bureau report, and credit linked insurance settlement, others. These are all the sections that is present. And here in the table, for example, let me enter 12 for here number of complaints received during the quarter, resolved during the quarter, and pending. Here all the values that you enter are summed up and displayed in the last row, which is total, and for the last, that is average TAT of complaints resolved in the quarter, median is calculated and displayed at the end. So same way the calculations are implemented for all these fields, that is excessive charges, recovery practice, and all those things. And below you have
Yes,
a
sir, just one like Upasana, yeah, just for 1 second, like Upasana also like raised that same question related to district wise sheet. So Upasana, like already discussed, we are in touch with the CISPO team like for bulk uploading of district. Like some MFIs have operation in more than 300 districts also. So we understand your concern. So as discussed, we are in like talk with the CISPO team also like how to prevent this like manual entry and just allow that bulk uploading of data.
Yeah, sure, sir.
Sure, sure.
But it is too much time taking process.
Yes, yes, we understand. We understand your concern. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hi, this is Bharti from Swaman. So, with the district level, what issue we have seen is that the latest districts should be captured automatically in the Sa-Dhan, data file, which right now is going to be automated through the system. So, whichever there is district names which keep on changing, right?
Correct, ma'am.
Currently, Aurangabad has changed.
Chhatrapati Sambhaji Nagar.
Yeah. So we request the team that whatever is the latest district name, let's capture that. In case there is any system change required from our end also, we will be referring your data as a base.
So, ma'am, just one thing, like even if like you might be referring to as Aurangabad as Chhatrapati Sambhaji Nagar, but some other MFIs they use the previous name of that particular district. For example, for Prayagraj, they still give data as Ala for Allahabad. So what we are doing, we are using the concept of the district aliases. So whether you mention it as Aurangabad or Chhatrapati Sambhaji Nagar, it will be counted under the official name only, Chhatrapati Sambhaji Nagar. Like similarly for
We
that,
can give aliases and we can conclude this point
we
so
are
that
already,
I would,
yes,
I
ma'am.
would request that the latest district name should be captured. Yeah.
So we already discussed the issue. We know we have also faced the same problem. So we are going to address your issue. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank
So, Ranjit sir, this even GRM data, like you need not fill every like column, like cell, they are already providing. Basically, we're asking just the breakup of like number of complaints received, resolved, and pending during the quarter under each subcategory. So you can just take them quickly through this. Yeah, you can just mention about the comment box. So the particular MFI, they can mention like if addition to the complaints received, if they want to highlight any other issue, specific issue related to the grievances, they can give their observation or feedback. Yes, and suggestion here.
And next will be the location of maximum number of complaints, where you just have to enter the name of the state, district, branches, and total complaints received, and specify the reason for maximum complaints. And at the last, you have additional complaints, where you can click and add multiple rows, and you still have an option to select the sections over here which were present above, that is this interest rate, excessive charges. And if you don't find the fields over there, you can select over here and then add descriptions to it, then number of complaints received during the quarter, resolved, and pending, and average TAT value. I hope this section is clear. So next is HH income and indebtedness. Here the values are mentioned, that is less than 20% and more or equal to 20%, but less than 30%, all this value. So you can fill, I'll enter a sample data of 100 over here for this particular column. So some of that will be displayed here, and there is a section below saying which calculates the grand total. And below that you have a calculated percentage, another table where value is calculated, like the value over here, the entered value divided by the grand total into 100. That is how the calculation is performed, and everything is logged, it is auto populated. You just have to fill the values present in the first table. So percentage will be calculated based on it and displayed in the second table. Yeah. So, and next, moving on to the next section, which is insurance. There is two sections, that is credit linked insurance and other type of insurance. Next, you have other type of insurance such as health, accident, property, and all these things which used to be in your previous Excel. And at the last, you have another option where you can specify any others. And these are all the same columns that used to be present before. So I'll click on save and go next and move forward for the next section, that is ALM, asset liability management. So here you have two sections, that is one is for assets and another one is for liability. So I'll enter 5 for this. Here for the assets, the sum is calculated on both the ways, that is row wise as well and column wise as well. The total is calculated and displayed in a grayed out field, and same way the calculation is performed for liabilities as well. So I'll enter 3. So here some of the liabilities is displayed over here, and total equity I've entered 1. Below you have total liability and equity, that is sum of total liabilities, which is 12, and total equity is 1. 13 is displayed over here, and next is asset minus total liability plus equity. Total liability plus equity is 13, and the total assets value is 35, and the value for it will be displayed in the asset minus total liability row. And next is funding requirement loan disbursement, and that's it with the ALM section. And when the MFI fills all these details and click on save and go next, the MFI will be navigated to the shareholdings and ownership, which is the last section of QDCS. Here the MFI will have an option to add multiple rows, and there is a message displaying that the stakeholder having at least 10% of stake. So let me enter some sample values, and if I try to enter value which is less than 10%, the pop-up will be displayed saying that shareholding percentage cannot be less than 10%, and if any value which is more than 100, the pop-up will be displayed, and which doesn't allow the MFI to enter it. After all these details, the MFI has still have an option to go refer back to the previous section and then save it. If everything is done, the MFI can click on submit to checker. Once after that, every data that was entered will get logged, and the checker could log in and then see all the data filled by the maker, like how I displayed in the registration process. So this is a process of QDCS, this application. To continue with the next process, I ask Sneha to share a screen.
So moving on to the next process. So we have ADCS process for MFI. So this is the annual data collection sheet. So similar to QDCS, we have a ADCS section, so which comprises of 1 to 8 sections. We have state-wise data and district-wise data. So once these data are filled by MFI maker, it will again be
So
submitted to
Sneha, Arvind sir also, I think, has some that same question like which was raised earlier, like for uploading of data. Sir, we have already discussed like 2, 3 other persons, participants also raised the question of that uploading of data. So as discussed, we are looking into it like if you can directly upload from Excel file or some other source. So we are just checking that also, exploring that possibility here. Yeah, ma'am, you can continue.
So yeah, once all these data are submitted by the like MFI maker to the checker, checker is going to view all the data, and once the checker reviews and submits it to the Sa-Dhan, and Sa-Dhan shall approve the complete ADCS process. So moving on to the next slide, we have the ADCS list overview. So similar to QDCS, we have sort by option, filter search, the list of QDCS. As mentioned in the previous slide, we have the ADCS like the complete list listed in the different like status, and also they have the color indication which you can differentiate with, and you have the same menu bar towards your left. So this is the ADCS list overview. And the next is ADCS form overview. So here you have 1 to 8 sections. You have the state-wise and district-wise. So this is the complete ADCS form, and now we shall demonstrate it through the application. So handing it over to Ranju.
Same way, once after the MFI logs in, they can click on this ADCS section and the list view will be displayed. To reduce the time, I have already filled data for an ADCS. We'll refer to that. And here you have an option that is this particular section and most recent rating information. Here you have an option to add multiple rows to it and then fill the data. Same feature is provided for most recent grading information and is code of conduct assessment undertaken. When you, if it is yes, the table will be displayed, and no. And next is maker details and checker details. As these are all the same functionalities and that is implemented in the QDCS section as well. So I don't want to waste much of a time. So moving forward. Next is staff details. Number of staffs at the beginning of year and new staffs recruited and staff left or dropped. So that calculation is performed here as well. Then number of women staff, number of loan officers, number of women loan officers. And next is branch level details. The number of branch at the beginning of year, added during the year, and closed during the year. The same calculation is implemented for all these three fields, that is for branch level details, state and district level details. Moving forward to the third section, we have loan accounts and borrower details. So here, active loan accounts under on balance sheet and number of loan accounts under on balance sheet. Here, both of some of these two fields will be displayed over here, and some of these two grayed out fields will be displayed below. So same way it is applied for active borrowers as well. So some of these two displayed at the end, and these two grayed out fields displayed in the below. Next is number of borrowers under BC, number of women borrowers, rural borrowers, and number of new borrowers added during the year, percentage of scheduled caste, and percentage of minority, percentage of differentially abled, and percentage of OBC borrowers, and percentage of borrowers having BPL cards. These are all the fields present over here. And next is loan portfolio. The same calculation is implemented here as well. So some of these two will be displayed in the grayed out field. Moving forward, these are all the same fields that used to be present in the Excel. And next is disbursement, the same calculation. So most of the sections are and the functionality is explained in the QDCS, and I don't think so like doing it again is okay. Like moving forward with the next section. And next is credit risk, where you have PAR calculation, the same as implemented in QDCS.
Ranjit sir, I think Mr. Raju has some question. Mr. Raju, what is your query?
Sunny sir, I have little doubt. There are multiple things need to be put down in the manual. There are no chance to upload the data directly to update because
sir, this
first of all, I'm so sorry, sir. I'm so sorry. First of all, they are time taking. Secondly, when we do the manual, the error chances may be raised and increased.
So that's what we discussed earlier also. Like we are already in touch with Sys4 team regarding this uploading of this data, like bulk data. So you don't have to do manually. This same question has been raised, I think by 2, 3 participants earlier also. So we'll get back to you. Like we're already in touch with them regarding this. That provision should be made, like to avoid that manual entry of data.
Okay.
Okay.
So next is the total assets, where some of all these four fields will be displayed below. And moving forward to the fifth section, which consists of other balance sheet items and ratios. And total equity is calculated based on the values entered in the tier 1 capital and tier 2, and cost of funds and interest rate, income and expenditure, fundings are the section present in 5. And moving forward to the sixth section. Here, types of debt funding, where your particulars are displayed over here, and there is an option for comments where the MFI can enter the comments if has to be mentioned any, and amount received during the year and amount outstanding. Next is source of funds. The same option is provided here as well. Next is top 10 lenders in terms of amount of funds received during the financial year.
So, Ranjit sir, I think Mr. Arvind also has raised question. Like, I understand you are saying like if you're providing data for all 4 quarters, so like why then that annual data? But in annual data, like other parameters are also being captured related to that income generation and development of CSR activities. Other things are also there. So we collect, and most of them, what happens in quarterly data, like most of the MFIs are submitting provisional data. So in annual, that data collection sheet, by that time the audited data also comes. So we receive like audited data of MFIs. So this like annual data is being shared. You might be aware, like Bharat Microfinance report is being shared with all the stakeholders also. So we consider like that collecting that one time for annual is more important. Like it's being shared with all stakeholders also, na?
So here ADCS means annual data collection sheet. We have a comprehensive parameter, means more parameter
than quarterly
than
data.
quarterly. So if you can provide all the quarter, we can't match with the ADCS means annual data collection sheet. Apart from that, Sunny already told it's based on audited figures. Whereas quarterly maybe some of the MFI giving based on audited, but maybe unaudited also, but or provisional data. So third one is even if you are giving some data which some of the parameters come on, sir, we can cross check whether it's correct or not. That is also additional cross check point for us also, and for you also. So for example, your portfolio, your total portfolio may not be going to match with all the 4 quarters actually. Means our last quarter as on date, that figure should be matched with the March data. Means so this so many cross check points are there that will help you to know from you and both are us also. That will help us to improve the quality of the data and report
accuracy
also.
And some member MFIs, like just to say, like some like what due to whatsoever reason they are unable to provide data for all 4 quarters. Like most of them are providing, but sometimes due to whatsoever reason they are unable to share for particular quarter. So this is like an additional checkpoint also. Like we are receiving all the correct data, so it's just to improve the accuracy and authenticity. Yeah.
I hope it is clear from our end. Okay, carry on, Ranjit.
Yeah, you can, sir, proceed.
Yes, sir. So moving forward, we have name of the banks and financial institutions with whom tied up for co-lending table. And next is usage of credit of loan amount disbursed during the financial year and non-income generational loans, other financial services. And in the next section, you have development / CSR activities, where you just have to enter the total number of beneficiaries and out of total number of employee beneficiary, number of clients, amounts, and provide a brief description for related activities. So this is the end of the last section in the ADCS form. And next you have the state-wise and district-wise, which is same as QDCS. So this is the process of ADCs. Any questions, sir?
I think Shilpa of Save has one question. The ADCS data we need to only fill ADCS. Yes, this is Shilpa. This is particularly related to that March data, annual data which we collect. Now you are sharing that annual data. So this is for the year-ending data which we are collecting for the Bharat Microfinance report.
Okay, sir.
There is one from Dwara KGFS also. We have to collect. It will be easy to collect. Just one thing. Yeah. So, sir, one thing is like that you're being provided with like that common username and password. Now, so like if suppose you are related to the operations team, you have filled that operation data, the finance or like the GRO person, they can fill the particular data related to that particular fields. And that Excel part, like we told now, we are already discussing like how to upload that directly from the Excel. So we'll get back to you like shortly. We'll provide an update like how to do this bulk uploading of data, like whether it's in that quarterly or that district-wise sheet. Is there any further query or any question from anyone?
सर अभी तो क्वेरी नहीं है, बेसिकली नॉर्मल क्या है कि जो हम एक्सेल शीट से कर रहे हैं वही चीजें सारी डिटेल यहाँ पे मैनुअली फिल करने के लिए हैं.
Yes, but sir,
yes.
yeah, but there are a lot of things getting auto calculated. If you note that grayed out fields which this Ranjit sir and Ayush sir mentioned, lot of things are getting auto calculated also just to ensure like more accuracy of that data. So what I'll tell you what happened like in that Excel sheet when you were getting the data, some things which were not auto calculated, there were a lot of like for example, basic thing I'll tell that we mentioned a number of staff recruited during the quarter, number of staff dropped. So number of staff at the end of the quarter was not matching. Like when we are doing that checking, it's not matching. So here it's a like additional checkpoint that added advantages like number of branches at end of quarter or number of like this staff at end of quarter. It will be always matching in that case. So there are checkpoints and there are some pop-ups also coming that validation. So that ensures like the maker is filling that correct data. That is one of the major advantage. Maybe like you are providing all the correct data, but like majority, like we see, like there are some issues like related to I told na, there are that if checkpoint is not there, then that accuracy goes down.
Even for checker also list minimum type to
yes, to approve the
check,
data.
approve it and check it also. So there is so many advantage right now. It means you feels there's not much advantage, and after that, if it is can download means uploading the data, that's also another advantage. So we are also in touch with them as I told earlier. So of course you'll get some benefit initially. Maybe this is means looks like it's a very looks like it's Excel data, but it's not. We are going to do it more further improvement, user friendly, and also more improvement, more feature later on.
सर यहाँ पे ना एक चीज और मैं ऐड करना चाह रहा था कि जैसे उद्यम पोर्टल पे डेटा उनका क्या होता है कि मैक्रो लेवल पे होता है ना, माइक्रोस होते हैं, उसके अकॉर्डिंग वो फिक्स होता है. अगर कहीं पे गलती है कुछ है डेटा तो फिक्सेशन करता है, बाकी उनके डिस्ट्रिक्ट मैपिंग वगैरह सारी चीजें होती हैं. तो वहाँ पे क्या होता है, जैसे हमने अपलोड डेटा किया, वहाँ पे डेटा अपलोड करने के बाद डेटा का स्टेटस वहाँ पे आ जाता है और उसी डेटा को हम डाउनलोड कर सकते हैं. तो क्या यहाँ पे भी ऐसा प्रोविजन हो सकता है कि मैक्रोस बेस पे वो जैसे सिमिलरली उद्यम का डेटा अपलोड करने के लिए यहाँ पे भी हो सकता है वो चीजें?
So Birendra sir, ये आयुष सर ने भी बोला था. I don't know if you there like you are asking of like importing or like downloading the data na. So they already mentioned in the chat box also like they are working on that. Like if that provision is be possible to download that data also, like what you are submitting, you can download it in that Excel form, right?
ये सर राइट, बट जैसे एक चीज और कह रहा था मैं कि डिस्ट्रिक्ट मैपिंग है ना, तो डिस्ट्रिक्ट मैपिंग अगर उसमें ऑटो डिस्ट्रिक्ट मैपिंग ऑटो इसमें अगर हो जाए और दूसरा जो मैक्रोस बेस पे डेटा अगर ये कॉन्फ़िगर हो जाए तो बहुत सारी चीजें क्या होंगी कि जब हम फाइल बना रहे होंगे अपलोड करने के टाइम पे, तो उस टाइम पे बहुत सारी जो भी एरर होंगी उसी टाइम पे आ जाएंगी और उसको साथ साथ ही हम लोग सॉल्व कर सकते हैं. ये जस्ट मेरा व्यू था, बाकी मैं
ठीक है,
it's good suggestion, right?
Suggestion, Mr. Ayush, can you to understand his problem and can you address answer his question, answer the question? Ayush
or Ranjit sir, if you are there,
or Ranjit?
Yes, sir.
So can you answer his question? What he want? Please understand and answer the question.
So can you just brief that out once again, sir?
Birendra sir, can you just repeat your query?
Let me brief you again. Like data in Udyam portal, right? So they have some macros in the system in Excel sheet, and whenever we are putting any data, we used to click on the OK button, and if there is any discrepancy in data, then automatically one error pop up, right? So similarly, I'm asking if you have similar kind of Excel file which is consists of the macros, and whenever we are uploading the data in Sa-Dhan portal, then we should be able to know status of the all fields, and if we want to download the same data and want to rectify the data, then we should be able to do all these activities.
Got it, sir. Like we'll work on it. We'll discuss about it with the team and then decide. But
Okay, thanks.
thanks, sir.
So do we have any other questions that we can answer, or we have to address it?
Okay.
Yes.
So we'll do one thing also, like we'll be sending like this initiating this registration link and just ask like the MFIs just to fill with like the previous, like you have submitted that December or September data. So you can just try it out and let us know, like during the call also you have raised very like valid concerns. So while going like filling through that, you can maybe found like some new concerns or genuine like suggestions, so you can then write back to us. So we'll from next week onwards we'll start initiating the registration link and request like the MFIs to just fill it with like the previous quarter data. And like if you have any other suggestion, you can definitely write back to us so that we can improve on this tool further.
Even based on our demo, if you have any question or suggestion, you can write back to us within 2 days time so that you can take it to our technology team actually. Okay. It's fine.
So I think, yeah, Ajit of I think SKDRDP also has one question. After entering data, everything, please one Excel for getting management approval. So Ajit sir, like that checker also, this has been mentioned by Ranjit sir and Ayush sir. They also have that username and ID like to log into that portal. And for checker, it would be actually very seamless process. Like if the data has been entered correctly here, just to like skip all through all the sections and just click to like submit to Sa-Dhan at one go. So for checker, I think the time has been reduced drastically. Like in that Excel, I think they had to go everything. But since there are so many checkpoints in that portal, if you had noticed, so for the checker, that time to like validate or just check the data will definitely be reduced, and they can directly submit to Sa-Dhan. So that's why we're requesting like we'll initiate the registration link, and you can just try it out and just see like how easily you are to able to do it. And if you have like definitely like mentioned, if some suggestions or feedback, you can definitely write back to us.
Right, sir. Right, sir.
सर अगर हम पिछले क्वार्टर का इसमें सबमिट करते हैं क्योंकि हम ऑलरेडी उसको सबमिट कर चुके हैं डेटा को, है ना?
Yes, sir. But yeah, just for demo purpose, because next quarter onwards we'll try to collect data through this online tool. So we need to ensure like you are comfortable using this portal and this online application. That's why we are just requesting you can just try it out and just see how like easy it is, and where are like the pain points. If you while filling the data, then only you'll realize like what other challenges are there, or some feedbacks are there. So at that time, if you mention like now what are the suggestions, we can further work on it and improve it. So that's the purpose of this.
Okay, right.
So yeah, if there are no further questions, we can conclude this call.
Yeah,
I
sure, sir.
request if any question, please drop a mail. We'll do consider it actually. Whatever way, best possible way you can do it. Of course, we'll do it. Okay.
Okay,
But
sir.
Yeah, Raju sir, yeah, this I think asked na this regarding the downloading the Excel file. Sure, like we'll
Yes, we are.
definitely. Yes. Thank
please
you.
drop us mail.
Yeah.
We'll do consider whatever
Yes.
possible.
Yes. So I would like to thank the SIS4 team also, like explaining very nicely and patiently, and like also thank all the like member MFIs participants like bearing 2 hours with us. So thank you everyone for attending today's call. And like we said, we'll send the initiate the registration link next week onwards, and you can just try out and just see how it is working. And definitely there are suggestions, they are most welcome, and we'll try to improve this online tool further.
So as I told, it's our first journey in digitization. So there will be some room of improvement, of course. So that is why I'm asking your suggestion improvement. We will try our best to make it your actually suggestion and inputs will be incorporated in our and further improvement in our digitization. Okay. So
We
please
appreciate
drop
it.
a mail suggestion, whatever actually way you can do. Means in the first journey, you can also help us to make more further improvement. Thank you so much for your patience, hearing and giving time. Thank you so much to CISPO team also for your explanation and giving demo of the tool.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone. Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. Thanks for.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.